Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi is the Chancellor of Santiniketan. The inscription of Santiniketan on the World Heritage List is a welcome gift.
Santiniketan is steeped in heritage. It is also home to one of India's best known universities, Vishwabharati. The spirit of Rabindranath Tagore lives on through Santiniketan. The UNESCO World Heritage status tag is a reminder that this heritage needs to be protected with renewed vigor. The recognition is a step in that direction. What makes this beautiful place stand out is the deep connection between philosophy, nature and learning. Tagore Santiniketan, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Once a sleepy town on the banks of the Khowai, Santiniketan was known for Vishwabharati, the university. Rabindranath Tagore, a poet, musician, philosopher and Nobel laureate, built. But the place was discovered by his father, Maharishi Rabindranath Tagore, who meditated under a chatim tree, found solace and gave birth to Santiniketan in 1863. Today, the living, breathing university has won recognition for its rich legacy. Chatimtola is the place from where Santiniketan was born. Maharishi Rabindranath Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore's father, meditated here while camping under two trees. And the serenity of this place was what drew him here, leading to the birth of Santiniketan under Rabindranath Tagore's tutelage.
In 1951, a remarkable thing took place with the intervention of the then Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. It became the first settled university, and not only was it a settled university, it was also declared as an institution of national importance, which is rare. We have got about 40 central universities now, but Vishwabharati is the only university with recognition as Institute of National Importance. So from our point of view, it was Tagore who took Santiniketan and Vishwabharati, because Santiniketan and Vishwabharati, they can be interchangeably used, because Santiniketan is the location, Vishwabharati is the institution. So it was Tagore who took Santiniketan to the global map, but on the basis of his individual effort. Now the endeavor which he undertook then and being continued even today was recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage University and World Heritage Location, Santiniketan. Now implication is that so far UNESCO has given this kind of tag to dead institutions or monuments. For instance, in India, Nalanda is part of the World Heritage. So is Konarak Temple in Puri. So is Taj Mahal. If you look at these, structure, monuments, you will find Nalanda, is no longer an active or functional university. Konarak, they don't offer prayer nowadays. But Vishwabharati is the only university in the world which is going on since 1901. So this recognition is given to a living university. That's a rare thing.
Well, it's a great honor that Santiniketan is today a World Heritage Site. The UNESCO inscription as a World Heritage Site makes it the 41st World Heritage Site in India, and it stands tall with Taj Mahal, with Ajanta, Ellora, and some of the greatest monuments of our nation. What is also significant is that this is a 20th century site, and across the world on the UNESCO global list, the representation of 20th century heritage is very, very minimal, and what it puts in place is on record to the world the significance of a site that was part of India's nationhood, a part of India's independence story, of Rabindranath Tagore creating the vision of a modern India that was still rooted in folk tradition, in classical tradition, in a confluence of art, architecture, sculpture, landscape, and to bring it together as a whole. And while the rest of India was under the yoke of colonialism, Tagore and his collaborators, his associates like Nandalal Bose and Ram Kinkar Bej and many others, looked eastwards rather than the west. So they looked towards architectural inspiration from within India, from Borobudur, Japan, China, Indonesia, outside India, to create a modernism, to create a pan-Asian modernity that was rooted in its context.
Santiniketan's most famous landmarks are its centers of learning, from Patho Bhavan to Kala Bhavan. These centers are a living embodiment of the rich heritage of Tagore. Santiniketan has drawn upon ancient, medieval and folk traditions of India, as well as Japanese, Chinese, Persian, Balinese, Burmese and Art Deco forms. Most of these themes are seen in his collection of poems, Gitanjali, which Tagore wrote while living in Santiniketan. Patho Bhavan is one of the main edifices of modern day Santiniketan, but with close and deep ties to the past. The school is characterized by its philosophy of learning with the heart in closeness to nature and without any superficial barriers between students and teachers. Amongst its notable alumni are former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Nobel laureate Amartya Sen.
Well, the best thing that I've heard is that Santiniketan is a World Heritage Site because it's rooted in the principles of Indian freedom movement. It's rooted in the fact that at the height of the Bengal School of Art, at the height of the freedom movement, we had visionaries like Gurudev Tagore, who not only influenced other freedom fighters. He was a great friend of Gandhi. He was a mentor to Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi, studied there. But also this entire grouping of artists with a vision could create something that was at that time path-breaking, the idea of Vishwa Bharati, that the world is a nest. And when Rabindranath Tagore's words about this being the vessel of his life's creation, I'm just glad that as a nation we have been able to have international acknowledgement to the greatness of the contributions of Rabindranath Tagore.
But the road to this recognition has not been easy. Attempts in the past did not succeed. This time, the government did not want to repeat mistakes of the previous efforts.
I think the time is right because in the last 10 years, there's a much greater appreciation of architecture that is not just the tallest, oldest, biggest, brightest, but that is more rooted, that is more local, that is more contextual. And with Santiniketan in the early 20th century, the creators of Santiniketan had explored the architecture of mud, they had explored traditional building skills, they had explored sustainability in design, they had looked at seamlessly blending the landscape with the interiors, looking at product design. If you look at some of even the furniture pieces in buildings like Shamali and many of the homes that Tagore built, the level of detail is uniquely Indian, uniquely Santiniketan. And that has changed, that the world view today is looking at architecture that is not just the tallest, brightest, but most sustainable. Well, I was privileged that I was nominated by the Archaeological Survey of India to prepare the nomination dossier for Santiniketan. And actually it was the middle of the lockdown, the second wave in 2021 of the pandemic. And in January, our team braved the pandemic, went to Santiniketan, put together the dossier's management plan, because the previous document was almost 12 years old, and we crafted and molded a new justification for Santiniketan, not hinging on so much as the educational traditions, but hinging on the tangible aspects of Santiniketan for UNESCO World Heritage. And because of criteria 4, we looked at this being an enclave that was at the cusp of modernity in India, that was an early 20th century enclave of artists, architects, sculptors, dancers, who created a complete work of art, where the building and the landscape, where the art, the murals by Bose, the sculptures by Ramkinkar Bej, they all fused into one complete artistic ensemble and an architectural and monumental arts ensemble. And I'm glad that ICOMOS and UNESCO have acknowledged the fact of the contribution of Santiniketan and declared it a World Heritage Site.
However, old-timers rue the loss of heritage, adding that perhaps the honor for Santiniketan will spur a return to what got it to this place.
So if you ask me, Santiniketan is missing the soul it had. It's the philosophy that it was built with. Its open arms, its inviting spirit, growing, learning without boundaries, all of that is missing. We've all been locked within gates and walls. There's no permission to go into the university or the ashram, which is what gives you an insight of what Tagore thought in the yesteryears.
Experts point out that with the UNESCO tag, there will be a renewed focus on protecting heritage and a revival effort for the place.
I would like to make a little correction with your statement that Santiniketan is not just a pilgrimage for the Bengalis or the Indians, it's the pilgrimage for the entire humanity. Because Rabindranath Tagore never talked about regional people or Indian Bengalis. He always thinking in terms of universal humanism. So I think Tagore is known, but Tagore specified basically, that's something which we must keep it in mind, that Tagore was not mesmerized by the West at all. He was insistent on establishing linkages, socio-cultural linkages with the countries in Southeast Asia. He visited China several times, he visited Korea, he visited Vietnam, he visited Thailand. The reason is very simple. He said, when we go to West, we don't have any cultural similarity with them because they are raised in a different cultural environment. While people in Southeast Asia, they are similar to us socio-culturally. So Tagore always looked at the neighboring countries. At the same time, he always talked about universal humanism. Now, the reasons are very simple because, think of the age when he was being raised. First of all, colonialism, which is a kind of brutal form of administration. Secondly, he witnessed, 2 world wars. The First World War and the Second War, although he passed away before the completion of the Second World War, but he saw the brutality of humanity. So, he was very perturbed and hurt as well. That's why if you look at his texts, starting from early part of the 20th century till his demise, the last text which he wrote in 1941, just 3 months before his demise, Crisis in Civilization. So you'll find that that sort of what is called agony, pain, always flowed through his mind, and that came out very clearly in all his texts. So Tagore wanted to build what is called humanity as a well-knit collective, regardless of differences in terms of caste, class, region or wealth.
A pertinent question for tourists visiting Santiniketan is what message are they taking back from here? ফিরে চল মাটির টানে, ফিরে চল মাটির টানে, যে মাটি আঁচল পেতে চেয়ে আছে মুখের পানে. These are lines by Rabindranath Tagore, advocating returning to nature, living in sync, living in harmony with nature. And that perhaps is Santiniketan's biggest message to the modern world. With camera person G.D. Shankar, in Santiniketan, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.